Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 614 Ben. This is a late Wednesday evening, and I do apologize for the late startup this evening. But I had to make sure that we was cooking up and we was alive for this all time college football talk on the offensive side. Yeah, you're gonna see my face. Just bringing it to you for the start on a different pace this Wednesday evening here for the 614 Ben. It is your boy MossBurgh of Level Up Sports here, partner, and always ready to work anytime we come in. And we got one of our main men here with us this evening, and he is coming to us live and direct, always working, never taking a day off, always politicking. And when we say politicking, we don't mean certain things in politicking, but T1, City League TV, T1. Man, I'm many ask somebody else. How you doing this evening? And we are glad to have you as well this evening.
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain. Feeling good, feeling great. Thankful for another day to do what we do. And it starts off with the breathing and definitely seeing the great morning talks with the sounds and the vibes as you are putting out there on a daily. And if you haven't tuned in, make sure you go check out Todd Claiborne and his morning essence and flows to get your day started and get them bones moving. Talk to the people if you could. How are you doing, Mr. Educator? Man of many hats, man with the microphone, man catching every camera footage that's going on a football Friday night. How are you feeling this evening?
Man, after working with them kids, man, they take every little piece of energy that you have. So I'm just here at the crib relaxing now. And I just thought I was like, 'cause usually I just like I'll be having plans to show up and time to get away from me, and I'll be all the way relaxed and all the way down, and then I look up, it's 9:30. I'm like, man, I'd have missed it again, and especially a Wednesday. Like I'm good for missing a Wednesday.
Yes,
So I
sir.
just saw the clock and I was like, oh man, let me jump up over here. So, I'm in the building, man. Let's move and groove with it.
Yes, sir. And when I say he's in the building, it is a great thing to have him in the building, as he said, because sometimes that time can definitely slip away from us all. But we talking about the all-time college football players you got on the offensive side. That's why it's episode 1. And we coming at you on the offensive side because we know offense sell tickets. But some of these players on this offensive side, they didn't not only sell tickets, they punched their ticket into the Hall of Fame and they punch their names into so many historical feats, having a key to the city, among so many more things. And as we indulge, before we get into the all-time talks, when you think of all-time T1 City League, knowing you was a quarterback playing that position, we gonna talk about quite a few quarterbacks in this talks. What's your thoughts when you think of all-time greatest players? When you think of the word all-time,
Just somebody that's gonna go out there and do the job better than whoever you think you're gonna put in there at number two. But of course, when we think about all time, man, there are really it's almost like a 1A, 1B, and 1C because most all of these quarterbacks, most all of them are great, but there is something that makes them a little more special. You
yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? There's something that makes them a little more special. And the all-time great squads, there everybody's going to have a different squad. It's not like you're going to have a unanimous, all first team coming from. You have 11 people picking their all-time, college offense. You're really not going to have a whole lot of similarities.
Yeah,
At least you shouldn't, because everybody has their own opinion about who they think is the best.
I agree. So when you talk all-time, like we said, I broke it in from some of the great all-time quarterbacks we've had, some of the great running backs we've had, some of the great wide receivers. And I kept it light on the tight ends because I think we can talk about so many tight ends. But at WTP for Life, Unc, he gave me his five. We're going to talk about his five that he gave me. We just going to talk about all-time greats, some that we have, some that many have talked about. And I'm gonna come to you and ask you when you think about all-time great, you could give me multiple, but who is your all-time great when we think of being at the helm, being that leader of the team at the quarterback position? If you are here in the chat, we are talking all-time college football. Episode 1, we are on the offensive side of the football. Good to see you in the building, Mr. Whitmore. Post game as well. Good to see you in the building. And when you think of quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, we even got a little special teams, which is that player that just lit up the field in every aspect, from kick returns, punt returns, to being a wide receiver, being a running back, being a flanker, even throwing the ball as a QB. What's your thoughts when you think about quarterback? Coming straight at you, T1. When you think of quarterback, if you got multiple, talk to me. Multiple quarterbacks. Papa Whitmore, he said Joe Montana out of Notre Dame. What is your thoughts on this one? Post at the QB position.
I'm going and see, that's why I say it's a bias thing. And I love Joe Montana. You know, as a former quarterback, I love Joe Montana, and actually, my freshman number was number 16. You know, I love Joe Montana as well, but my all-time squad, I got Randall Cunningham at that QB position because, you know, not only can he pass the ball, and you know he also can get up out of the pressure and run it. But guess what? If he had to, he can also punt the ball. You know, so but what made Randall dynamic was his arm strength and his escapability to get up out of there. And I feel like I can't go wrong if I got Randall at that QB spot. I'm
And
putting Randall in over Joey Montana.
and
You
this
know,
is
because Joey Montana can't get up out of there. My man Randall gonna be able to get up out of there, especially when you're going up against an all-time defense.
definitely, definitely appreciate it. And for those in the chat, we appreciate you tuning in. And we got our rabbit, and we also have Mark Van 1581 in the building. Make sure you type your comments in the chat. We're talking all-time college quarterbacks, and we got Randall Cunningham at the quarterback position. We got Joe Montana at the quarterback position coming in from Papa Whitmore. T1 said Randall Cunningham. For me, this was one of the wildest. And when I say positions that you could really go any way, and I don't think you would go wrong, because in that time, for me, Randall Cunningham was my guy. I was able to see him in the NFL, and I thought he changed the game. But when you talk college at the quarterback position, for me, when you think about the years of college football that I've watched, I'm having to come and see a guy over, and I think Unc is agreeing with me. I'm in agreement with Unc,
Let me come
but
back, Moss B, not to cut you off.
talk to me.
So let me correct myself because you know I got a little ahead of myself because when I hear QB and I hear all time, I just Randall just go into my head. So I got to remember now that we're talking college, correct?
Yes, sir. College.
We're
This
not
college.
we're not talking NFL. So let me rewind then, and I'm gonna have to go with my man's Mikey Vick.
Mm,
And that's a real easy one for me when we're
Mike
talking
Vick.
about college. That's really easy for me. I'm
I
taking
like
Mike
that.
Vick.
I like that pick. When you mention Mike Vick, you know, some of the names that I didn't put down because I wanted opinions, whether it was from the viewers, thoughts myself. Mike Vick was a player that I did not want to see on the field. He was putting up numbers against my Florida State Seminoles, and I thought we was going down in that year, and we was going crazy, and we was able to win that and get that national championship. But I respect that. when you talk Michael Vick, all-time college quarterbacks, because he transcended the game, not just with his feet, but the way he spent that thing, as Parlay Post say. But for me, I like Vince Young in Texas as I was sliding towards him. I was sliding towards him. I definitely like, you know, Cam Newton. We can't disgrade neither one of the performance of anyone we talk about that might not be the ones we choose, but you see the jerseys behind me. One is high school, one is college. That's Joey Burrow. I don't know if it's a little bias, but I like Joey Burrow's college football career, and I like him as my guy because I watched this kid when he was at Ohio State go through the injury with a tough quarterback room. Vince Young, I think, is upper echelon of many picks, but I went with Burrow and watching his growth, being in that tough quarterback room, having that injury, growing, going through that process of transferring over to LSU and going through that growing pain of having a year that you thought you not might not, but having a year that wasn't, I guess, up to some's thinking. But to double back and have that undefeated season, throwing that ball to Chase and Jefferson, and as he continued to chase that ball in that NFL, mine was Joe Burrow. And when you talk about having the types of season that these quarterbacks have, Vince Young, we already know what he did, taking down a dynasty in USC. He took down probably one of the most vaunted dynasties in college football still today. But for me, Joe Burrow, when you have a season, a single season, you throw 48 tutties, you got over 4,700 yards, and you throwing a ball at almost a 78%. That's spinning that thing. That's getting the job done. And but for his career, 80 over 8,500 passing yards, 76 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's not by far a bad resume on the college football level, and knowing what he did with that LSU team, taking them through that undefeated season, getting wins against Alabama, going through that vaunted SEC, as we know. But, talk about Vince Young and Cam Newton for me if you could, T1. I know you want to talk smoke about them two great quarterbacks. Also, and Tim Tebow, if you got anything to say about him as well. A few other quarterbacks possibly. Tommy Fraser, Matt Leinart. So many great quarterbacks that we was able to see. And one of your guys over at the block, a couple of them guys, Troy Smith. I asked people about CJ Stroud was in the talks. When we talk about these great QBs, and we're going to bring another one of our guys in, the great Griffey Griff is in the building. As we was talking about Joe Burrow, one of them by you guys, LSU. How's it going this evening, the great Griffey Griff? Good to see you in the building as well.
What's up, bro? Long time no see, man. Thanks for thanks for the
Yes, sir.
invite.
Yes, sir.
What it do, Griff?
For sure, man.
What's happening, bro? How you feeling?
Oh, great.
That's what it
Well,
do. How you
well,
been? Everybody
well,
good?
yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes,
good, my
sir.
brother.
And
I ain't heard from you. I ain't heard from you fellas since that high off that finals run by my Knicks. But it's football season now. Let's
yes,
get it.
sir. And we talking about those college football all-time QBs, and what's your thoughts on your pick and quarterbacks when you think of that position as well? All-time QBs,
In college football.
college football.
For for me, my top guy for I'm a I'm gonna have to go down to your territory, Mossberg, man. Like I always been a huge Charlie Ward fan, man. Charlie Ward's career down there in Tallahassee, man, was something special for me to watch as a teenager, man. I love the way that man ran that offense down there in Tallahassee with Bobby Bowden, like one of the one of the first versions of the spread was ran
Yes,
down
sir.
there in Tallahassee. Shotgun formation. Charlie was a wizard in that no huddle drill, that 2 minute drill. He couldn't be stopped in that situation, man. Like, man, that was some good football to watch right there.
I agree. I
That was
agree.
some
And
good
I didn't
football.
want to be too
Charlie.
biased. Yeah.
I gotta put Charlie in there. If we talking about just one season, man, my man Cam Newton, what he did at Auburn, man, that was legendary. That one season he had. I don't think I ever seen a player have a season like that.
Yes, sir.
He
Most
absolutely
unstoppable season.
he absolutely carried that team to a national championship, man. Basically, you know
Yeah.
they had a pretty stout defense. You know, nah, I mean, you know, that D line was tough. The running backs was, you know, wide receivers, position players were decent, but Cam was the engine that made that whole thing go. And that season he had, man, was amazing.
Yes, sir. I agree.
And, and then I would probably have to be biased with my third pick and go with my man Joe Burrow, man. That season he had at LSU. Like, I don't like far as what he did being a quarterback, passing that football like that, going through this first team to go 15-0. The man was I think he the only person still responsible for 60 touchdowns in the season.
Mm.
I think 60 passing touchdowns, or I don't know if he the only one, but he was accounted for 60 touchdowns that season. Amazing. So I had to. Them would be my top three choices off the top of my head, because you know I ain't really do no research or nothing for the show or nothing like that. But just off the top of my head, them three guys right there ring my bell.
No,
Hard.
great picks. Great picks. Anything you got to add to that one, T1? Other QBs as well?
Man, that's what I was saying earlier, Moss. You know, all of these teams will look different because when he just smacked me with the Charlie Ward, like that was my dude too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And Charlie was out there orchestrating that baby as if he was in the orchestra. It was
Man.
just a thing of beauty to watch him out there. You know what I mean? And then you was talking about, you know, Cam Newton and Vince Young, and I mean, both of them QBs, they did their thing. But when I circle back to Mike Vick, here's one thing that y'all have to remember too. Now, all those teams that y'all named, the Florida States, the Auburn, the LSU, the Texas, all of them teams had those big 5-star players, 4-star players. Mike Vick and Virginia Tech, they didn't have that. Like they didn't. Now they did still have a pretty good defense, but all of those other quarterbacks that you named, they were surrounded by a lot of NFL players. A lot of players went to that next level. And Mike Vick worked with less than all of those quarterbacks, and he elevated that entire team just to a astronomical level. But you can't go wrong with none of those QBs.
I like that. I like that. I'm a dig in my bag a little deeper, and I'm a go in my own bag with this one. I ain't even dribbling the basketball. I'm definitely shooting it for a deep three ball in their face. And this is at Lula Pearl Douglas, the great Griffin T1. I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
bring out that man Tommy Frazier, who I watched back in the day in the WTP while I was at 12, 18, as you see that on East 12th Ave in the room with my pops, Tommy Frazier, watching him take Nebraska to a back-to-back national championship and presenting college football to the option and showing that work at that quarterback position. I think he's a quarterback that a lot of people, if they really sat back and watched pieces of the game and like you speak on Mike Vick could probably say this, I'm just giving my opinion. He watched some of Tommy Frazier and the way he moved that
He definitely
football
did. He definitely
because
did.
Tommy Frazier, I think, is one that a lot of people forget about. They don't talk about. And like you said, Cam Newton. And then we know what Tim Tebow did. But I think when you think of some of these other things that they brought to it, Cam, you add all these pieces together, you get in one heck of a all-time quarterback with all these guys mixed in one. So that was just some great talks on the quarterback side. And thoughts, is there any other quarterbacks that we might not have mentioned, anyone that you could think about? And shout out to Unc on this pick with Vince Young taking down those mighty USC Trojans Any other thoughts on that quarterback position?
That's about good for me. We didn't hit him pretty hard right there.
Man, that was some great talks on
You
the
know,
quarterback. And go ahead.
it's plenty more out there to pick from. Like you brought up, If we talking strictly college, like you just brought up, Tommy Frazier. What about that? What about what that boy Danny Werfel did down at Florida? The time he was
Yeah,
down there, that boy
yeah,
was almost unstoppable down there at Florida.
yeah.
You
I
know what I
don't
mean?
forget that. Yeah.
And what was that offense? What Steve Spur you called that offense? I forget. Dang.
He was calling that something different, something
Yeah,
special.
it was. But
And
yeah, man, Florida was tearing shit up down there with Werfel, man, throwing that ball all over the field. To Ike Hilliard, and them guys, man. Come
Rasheed
on, man.
Caldwell, Ike
Yeah,
Hilliard,
yeah. I
Riedel
think I think
Anthony.
Tommy Frazier and them blew Florida out in the championship game that year, didn't they?
Yeah, they got him,
They
and
they
they
they, they
came right. Florida came right back and was on to something.
mm-hmm.
He didn't stop.
Which
Like you said,
yeah,
with what the way Warfel was doing what he do.
yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there, man. A lot of great ones then came through, bro.
And
For
then
real.
what was your thoughts even on one thing I think about is even Baker Mayfield. What's your thoughts on how he performed in bringing the efficiency to the game of just being that efficient quarterback out there when you're thinking about slinging that thing, spinning that ball in a spread offense, but how he was efficient, running out the pocket, getting the ball on the move. What's your thoughts even on Baker Mayfield on that college level?
Yeah,
Heisman Trophy. Oh, go ahead.
I'm done. I just said he all right. He
Yeah,
he, he way down.
I
He way
yeah,
far down my list.
yeah, but I put Baker, like, if I had to. Baker would probably be on my list of top 25, but like T1 just said, like, he'll probably be at the bottom of my list, but he damn sure had a hell of a career. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He got to respect that. So, and he's still doing his thing in the NFL to this day. So yeah, Baker is a all-time great quarterback. He's etched in history with that Heisman. But yeah, like he said, I have Baker towards the bottom of my list. I, Baker was a great player, but he wasn't nothing too special.
Yeah.
You know what I
And I'm
mean?
I'm gonna put Baker
He
right.
was
I'm gonna
special in
put
his own right. He was special in his own right. But he was the guys I just named: Charlie Ward, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow. I don't think he was nowhere near their level of seasons that they had, and eventually careers that they end up having with the national title that Burrow was able to pick up along with Cam Newton and Charlie Ward. All three of them won chips. So all three of them are automatically over Baker Mayfield.
yeah, and I'm gonna put
Artistically
Johnny
incredible.
Manziel right there with Mayfield too, because he put up numbers. You can be in a system, and that system is what give you numbers. And I think what made a lot of these players that we talked about special were their legs, and when their teams were in trouble, and they was able to get their teams out of that trouble and get them
Yeah,
over the hump. And
yeah,
just like Manziel and Mayfield, those seem like gimmicks, so but they won Heisman's. They had great seasons.
yeah, sure. And then we gonna take it from, you know, the leader to many, which is that quarterback, and we gonna deep dive into those halfback dives that these guys do so well to become some of the great runners, breaking runs. That's just something so special. We don't know. We can't see it coming until we see it live. But we're gonna take it from the quarterback position and we going to the running back position. We talking all time running back on the college football side, all time running back on the college football side. Talk to me, T1. What you got for me when we go to that running back all time at the college football level? I know
Man,
what you're gonna say, but I want to hear you say it.
let
I
me
want to
let me
hear
hear
what
let
you
me
got.
hear you say my first one. Well, who my first one?
I don't know because I want to hear you say it. I think I know, but if you know, like I know, we ain't at McDonald's, but we like the arch. It ain't Peter. It's Archie Griffin, and he got a couple of
Yeah,
them things, and them
and I
things got
think
a certain move on it that everybody just don't get. You got to earn them things.
yeah, and people can call it as unfair as they want to, but if you're talking college football and you're talking at the running back position, I mean, no position has two Heisman trophies other than the running back position, and it's only just one person, and that's Archie. And unfortunately for the young G's out here, they never got to see Archie. Nobody knew, just how great Archie was out there on the football field. And then you have to remember too, they had 9 in a box because they knew Archie was getting the ball.
Yeah.
After he won that first Heisman Trophy. So we know Archie getting the ball. And if you just think back then, back in the late 60s when they were playing this football, or whenever it was I think it was the late 60s, Archie was out there, early 70s. You just have to understand, like, there was no a whole lot of throwing a football. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of teams would have 8, 9 in a box, but we're talking about somebody who was considered at the time the best running back in the game. You knew that Archie, you knew that Woody was running his ball. You knew what was coming, and they just still couldn't stop the man.
You know what they call it?
Then
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
yeah, so you knew they was running the ball. You know what I mean? So, and you just still couldn't stop it. And then after that, I'm going with Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker.
Mm.
And my honorable mention is the
Mm.
phenomenal freshman. Something we never seen before, and too bad we didn't get to see more of it.
Talk
Reese
about it.
Claret
Ooh, he
led
shaking.
his team to a national championship as a freshman.
You cooking your fish grease over here this evening. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate everybody tuning in as well. And we talking that all-time college football. Can you tell them what you just said again? Can you tell them again? You started off with Archie, back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner for them Buckeyes, OHIO, in the chat if you in the building. Talk to them, T1. What's your next two? Tell them again so they won't forget
That
this.
Bo Jackson and Herschel Walker, like those were the two, with my own eyes. Those was the two dopest running backs I ever seen in my life. They were different. They were different.
Mm.
They were powerful, and they were fast. So that's my three right there. And really, I think everybody's getting knocked down to two because there's no way that you can even put Archie at number two. And although Bo and Herschel were amazing, and I do mean amazing. You can't put nobody in front of a two-time Heisman.
Man, it's tough. It's tough. Talk to us, a great Griffey. Griff, we coming straight at you. We ain't even playing no games. We talking them all time. Running backs of that college football, man. When you talk Archie, Bo, Herschel, them boys, that's just, you could get it however you
So,
want, man. Bo bringing it all, Herschel coming even stronger, and we know it what Archie doing. He gonna get it done. Talk to us. What's your thoughts?
them guys are vintage. You know what I mean? Them wonderful picks. Wonderful picks. Like he said, when it comes to college football and running back royalty, it don't get no higher than Archie. You right about that with the two Heisman trophies he got up in that case at Ohio State. Yeah. Bo, Herschel, great backs in their own right also. Correct what he did in that one season, man. Like, man, we he 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 gotta be a top five what if in the history of all sports.
Great.
Gotta be.
Because
We
he
we
still
missed
would have
we
had to play 2 years
we
in college.
yeah,
He
we
still would
got
have had
the
to play two more
we got
years.
we got to miss out on him with 2 more years in Tressel's system. You know what I
Man,
mean?
special
Then get to
back,
then
man.
then then get to the NFL. Man, I think we missed out. Maurice, I know he's doing his thing. Got a lot of stuff going on in the community and things like that. But I know he kicks himself sometimes thinking about what it could have been in his football career because that boy would have been great. That boy would have been great. But my picks, I gotta go. I gotta go with my hometown guy, man. He was a Heisman finalist. I gotta go with my boy Marshall Falk, what he did at San Diego State
Ooh,
back in the early '90s.
ooh,
My boy
Marshall.
Mar, Marshall had you staying up to 10:30, 11 o'clock to watch San Diego State play on a Wednesday, Thursday night on the school night.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean?
For
So,
sure.
he was box office. He was box office. You know, I gotta go with Marshall. I gotta go with that boy all day. AP. AP was a dog.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I gotta fuck with AP. You know, shit, shit.
So let me ask you a question, Griff. So you got AP and Marshall over Claret
Oh, definitely.
because he only
Definitely.
played 1 year,
Yeah, definitely.
but he got
Definitely.
a he
I
got a
think.
natty in that 1 year,
He
and
did.
was
He
a big
did.
reason
I
for it.
wouldn't. No, I'm not placing him over. You know what? I'm not going to even say I'm placing him over Claret. You know, your list was your list. So I'm just throwing other backs out
Oh
there
yeah,
who I
no
like.
doubt, no doubt,
You know
no
what I
doubt, my
mean?
brother.
So, you know, Claret, don't get me wrong. Like
I like these
in
lists, man. These are
college,
some good
in
lists,
in
man.
in college, Claret would have been better than them guys if he played 2 more years. We don't know, but 2 more years of Maurice Claret, man, we'd have been talking about him as one of the top 5 backs in college football history, I think. If we'd have got to see that boy 2 more years. We'll still be talking about Maurice.
And we talking about him now, so
And we
we
talking
know
about him
how
now.
great of a
But
back he
it
was.
it would be like a folklore if he played 2 more years. We'd be talking about that boy every year. Every time Ohio State get a back, Maurice Claret's name would be coming up. You know what I mean? He would have got him a Heisman.
Yeah.
He would have definitely got him a Heisman. Trust would have got him a Heisman.
No
Believe
doubt.
that. And but like I said, you know, my Tijuana's list was great list, but I'm just pointing out some of my favorites. I like what
No
Marshall
doubt.
did at San Diego State. You know, I think all day was I think he was great at Oklahoma. My boy, oh man, I almost forgot. Another old school, another childhood guy from our childhood, man. Come on, man. We can't you gotta we overlooking that 2,700 that Barry got.
I was about to cook.
Hold up.
Shh.
Who you say, Griff?
We overlooking that 2,700 that Barry got
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
'88.
yeah,
Mr. AstroTurf.
Man,
yeah,
are we overlooking that?
Nah, we
yeah.
ain't overlooking that. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
That man was putting up 300 a week.
Man,
Hey, look,
making
it's another one I ain't heard yet. So
making
we
a
waiting. I'm
postman
waiting.
double
It's
back.
one I'm waiting to hear.
You know what I
Making a
Maybe it's
mean?
gonna
So
postman
come from
double
all
back.
speak.
Barry. I think I got one more. I think I got one more in my. I think I got one more. I gotta fuck with what Ladanian did at TCU. I think that was special.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Special.
Ladanian was special in college.
I
I
was
think he had
watching
a
them
pretty
late night
solid
games.
year. You
Yeah.
know, honorable mention. My honorable mention, what Ron Dane did at Wisconsin was great.
Ooh, in your bag, Griffey. Griff,
You
I
know what I
see you in
mean?
the bag.
What
No
Ron
candy
did,
taken.
what Ron Dane did at before somebody came along and broke his record, huh? But he
Ooh,
was the all-time leading rusher in college football at one time.
I'm gonna hit y'all with some. Yeah, he
You
was
know what I
he was
mean? So
Where
and he got
WTP for life at? Cause I ain't heard a big one. I ain't heard a big one yet. So come on,
oh, I
what you
know.
got, Multi?
Man, I'm gonna give you a few. I'm gonna give you a slew. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. What you want me? You want me to start old school? I could go back and forth, old school to new school. What you want? I'm gonna start with one of your boys, respectively. Since we said Archie, we talked about Archie, but we forgot to go about one that had about 300 plus in that game, and he ran for 3 tutties. That's Eddie George. You talked about Claret and Archie. I'm gonna throw Eddie George in there. I'm gonna throw Tony Dorsett in there. I'm gonna throw Kajana Carter in there. I'm gonna throw Reggie Bush in there. I'm gonna throw Derrick Henry in there. I'm gonna throw Darren McFadden in there. When you talk about running backs, I'm gonna throw Tim Batuk in there, along with, did I say Kajana Carter?
Yeah.
So when you think of the running backs, it's quite a few out there. We talked about Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, of course. I know my guy over at FSU. If that's who you've been waiting for me to talk about, little short guy, little under 6 feet tall, Warrick Dunn.
You got done.
He got done. They forgot about him. He's one of the guys. When you talk about Charlie Ward, you think about Warrick Dunn.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
man, for me, man, this all time, of course, you can't go wrong with none of the names you've mentioned. When you talk about Archie, you talk about the head honcho of the running backs all the time. You talk about Tony Dorsett in here. You mentioned Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker's, One Take Zay in the building. He got J.K. Dobbins in the chat for all time running backs. Had 2K, and yes, he did have that 2K. Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry, bought out, and then Barry Sanders had that single, produced a single greatest season in only 11 games.
So ain't nobody gonna give Pretty Ricky no props, huh?
Which one you talking about?
Ain't nobody gonna give Pretty Ricky no props.
You talking about Ricky? You talking about Ricky Waters?
No, I'm talking about Ricky Williams, man.
Oh yeah.
How y'all gonna leave Ricky out in the way that he tore things up when he was in the building?
Because I was waiting to hear from everybody else. I thought Unc would be in the chat with this one. That's why I like when everybody come in the screen, because we got so many to dibble and dabble and talk on. I was gonna say a few because I knew we might not have mentioned all those guys, but talk to us about the great Ricky Williams. And when you talk about
Ricky Williams was, he was one of those Bo Jackson type running backs, and really, I don't feel like you can talk about the running backs and leave that young man. Well, he ain't a young man not no more, but I don't think we can leave Ricky out the conversation when we talking about it, because he made it do what it do too, in a major way.
Yeah, not at all. Can't leave him out. I think when you talk about college football, when you mention the name Ricky Williams, what's your thoughts on Ricky Williams, great Griffey Griff? When you hear the name Ricky Williams and you an opponent in that locker room, or you just hear that name in general, give us your thoughts on the great, all-time great to many, nonetheless, Ricky Williams. Talk to us.
Oh, Ricky was great, man. Down there in Texas, Ricky had a great career. He got drafted by my Saints, had a few good years for us. But, as far as this pure runners running the rock, Ricky definitely up there in college football history. He'll be one of the 20 backs I name. If I name 20 backs that I liked in college football history, Ricky would definitely be on there.
And wasn't he a part of a historical NFL trade?
Yep.
That I thought was that with the Dallas Cowboys?
No, that was with the Dolphins. But
you sure that was with the Dolphins?
Yeah, it wasn't
okay. I thought. Was it the Dolphins? I thought somebody gave up arms and legs for Ricky. It's been a minute. I wish I would have did a little bit of homework.
Saints.
Huh?
Griff will be able to, because he came
It was the Saints that gave up the arm and leg for him. Was it?
My mic is going.
And then he went to, we got One Take Zay in the building, and he went with Lawrence Maroney coming in as one of those all-time running backs that we have. And
oh man, he went so back.
A lot of people forget about Lawrence Maroney out of Minnesota, like you said, the Big Ten product. And when you say 2-4, you talking special. We're not even talking about Kobe, rest in peace,
Hey,
but that 24 on the
Moss, I don't
running
mean
board
to.
was special. Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I couldn't say nothing because my mic was messing up when he was talking about that trade. But yeah, my Saints traded. We traded our whole draft to get to the Redskins to draft Ricky Williams.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
We traded all.
And
We traded all. We traded all 7 picks that we had.
yeah,
That's
appreciate
crazy.
that, incredible.
That
Appreciate
means
the
somebody
comments as
cold.
well, Jose. Yeah, my boy,
But
ice
yeah,
cold.
you can go back to what you were saying, boss. I just wanted to say I heard him asking the question. I just couldn't say nothing because my mic was messing up.
Yeah, we
Now you,
we appreciate that, Griffin. Like I said, I thought it was historical because if you just give up everything, you just give up the whole house for something. That still ain't been done again.
Nah,
yeah,
never.
definitely.
Mike Dicker did that shit, that dumb shit, and he got fired the next year.
So when you think of the running back position, being that great running back, when we've talked about Barry Sanders, we talked about Bo Jackson, Archie Griffin. It's one and none when you think about some of these names. Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson, so many more. You got Maurice Claret. You got, you really make me think a lot when you think about the Buckeyes. Because they've had running backs where they've only played a couple seasons and they went on and had bigger and better things to look forward to in the NFL. And at that college level, we're gonna get into that talk to where we had an all-time team, so where you could put a few backs on those teams and talk about them. But man, this is so much of a cook-up because we could step into a whole nother level with this all-time top talk. But shout out to Maurice Claret. Man, I appreciate you when you come in and I'm able to whip up that cheesesteak melt hash brown bowl. If you come through and I'm there these next few days, when I see you, it's on the house and it's on me. Appreciate y'all coming through. But outside of those running backs, you know, got brother Blondie, got Jam, the walking encyclopedia in the building, and I appreciate you when you hit me up and you be enlightening me on so much of that encyclopedia talk. He said, "What about Troy Davis, the only running back in NCAA history to have back-to-back 2,000 running rushing yards for the Iowa State Cyclones?" Mm,
Yeah.
that's that was a special feat, and I think when you think about Jam and being that encyclopedia, because you enlighten us on many things that we might slip up on and have no clue about because it's just not what we've been tapping into. Even some of the people might not know, but that's something that's great to know, and y'all might want to go check that out because when you talk about all time, those few years was something special, and it put Iowa State in different places. And as we are coming to about 45 minutes to start
Real,
this
real quick,
614
real
Ben.
quick, Moss B.
Talk to me
Real
one, two,
quick. Let
one.
me get a little bit of it's now. Y'all like calling it homerism, but a lot of time you just got to call a spade, and that's all I be wanting. And it's okay to leave Elliott off of the list, but that run that he had in the college football playoff back in 2024 against the likes of a Alabama and a Oregon, two top five defenses, two what they was calling unstoppable defenses. I don't think we were supposed to win either of those games for real. And I want to say he came out with like 500 yards, man. That was like one of the biggest and best runs for a running back, I think, in college football history.
Hmm. You got a great point right there. You got a heck of a point right there. Any other thoughts on the all time running back position at this time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, y'all know we going to something special. We got one take Zay in the building. He dropped another ball on us, and I like this one. He said Jonathan Taylor was close to back 2K over there at Wisconsiano, where the Badgers are. And he was doing a lot of work with those guys. They had talks about rounding themselves there. We're gonna go to the next one, and we bringing up some of the guys. You know, this position is one of the, I think, one of the most prolific positions in college football because it's just a special position. My thoughts, your thoughts, wide receiver, all time college football. T1, talk to me. All time wide receiver college football. We bringing Griffey Griff right back in. As Brother Bondy said, Urban Meyer was forced to use Zeke because he was down to his third string quarterback. Thoughts on
Hey,
the
and
all
he
time,
represented.
thoughts on that all time wide receiver. And we're gonna come to you first, Great Griffey Griffin. We're gonna come right back to you, T1, since you coming
Yes,
right in,
sir.
Great Griffey
Yes,
Griff.
sir.
You say all-time great receivers?
All time college football, we at that wide receiver position where we catching balls for touchdown. We catching it. We getting that yak. We catching the screen. We just doing things that people just don't know gonna happen, and definitely getting them toes in on that sideline for spectacular catches. What's your thoughts,
Man, ooh, there's so many to choose from, man.
man?
You know, I gotta go with my boy Randy. What he did that over there at Marshall.
Mm,
Gotta, gotta fuck with Randy. You know what I mean? When that boy Mike Williams was in college at USC, he was a fucking beast. Remember Mike Williams, number one USC back in the
Mm-hmm.
day? I think with Mark Sanchez, I think that boy was unstoppable.
yep.
Uh, who else we got? You know, Peter Ward. Shit. That boy Braylon Edwards was bad at Michigan. Man,
It's a
Larry
lot.
Fitzgerald.
He on my he in my top three.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, man. It's a lot. Oh, Julio Jones, man, at Alabama. Julio was
Mm,
Julio was unstoppable uh down there with Nick Saban them, man. He was unstoppable.
I see
But
you in the
yeah,
building. 1 take.
it's
It's a
it's
good
a it's a
name so
lot,
far.
man. It's a
What's
lot.
your thoughts on this, Ty? What's your thoughts on this one? Because this one is a good one. This is a very good one. When it comes to that wide receiver position, I think you could talk about this. What's your thoughts on this one, Ty?
I mean, I have to go with the OG first. Just because really my second one would really he definitely could be numero uno. But I gotta go with the OG Chris Carter first, man, because if you know anything about college football, Chris Carter was doing this thing in high school. I mean, in college, he was making those. That's where the Mawson came from. He was making the catches that will make you say ooh and ah. And then I'm going with Randy Moss. Randy
Mm,
Moss was him. He wasn't supposed to be at Marshall, but he was, and they had a quarterback that could just all he had to do was just throw the ball up to him. I could have been a QB at Marshall, and,
yeah.
and Randy was going to eat. And then I'm going with Fitzgerald at that third one, man. I'm going with Fitzgerald. He was Larry Fitzgerald he was something special at Pitt as well.
Man,
And
special.
just like we say, man, you can't go wrong with whoever you pick. But I know one thing for sure: them three receivers that I just named, they're going to catch that ball over who's ever out there, and they've done it at
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
next level. But they did it. They did it in college too.
yeah, I agree, man. Dang, you took me back, and when you speak on the likes of Mike Williams, Great Griffey Griff, I think a lot of people need to just go ahead and hit that YouTube button so they can understand who that is and figure it out for themselves. As we got comments coming in from One Take, and I think you're gonna definitely like this one, T1, coming in from One Take, and he's talking about one of those guys that had this crowd shaking in his days over at Texas Tech, and that is Mike Michael Crabtree. He's talking
Mm-hmm.
about as well, which was one of the first wide receivers. He said to come to my mind is Ted Ginn and Mike Crabtree. And when you talk about those guys, you talk about electricity flowing through your veins. Anytime they touch the ball, you gotta have the camera on because you're gonna see something special. And I can't not agree with you, one take Zay. Them are great names and great choices because Ted Ginn was something special. Any thoughts on that, T1? I know you see your Buckeye. I know you want to say something. Talk to us.
Big props. I mean, again, he was a world class track star. He was special, man. He was special. And Crabtree too. Like Crabtree was special. You know, they knew the ball, and that's what makes these players even more special. Like Crabtree was there. What was that? Texas Tech. I mean,
Yeah,
they know where they throwing the ball to and who they throwing it to, and they just couldn't stop him. They
yeah.
just couldn't stop him, man. Very, very special. So that's a great list right there by postgame.
Man, I like it. I love it, man. And we need more comments on it on all these different lists. Give us your thoughts. I'd like to break down on Larry Fitzgerald. When you're talking about somebody that know what they got to do, you coming out, you know you getting triple teamed and double teamed. When it's 3rd and 7, they know the slant coming to you. They put a man in the middle to watch the slant. They put a linebacker over top of that in case you try to jump over, and they got the cornerback guarding you. Fitzgerald still made the grab. And I think it was special watching what he did along with Randy Moss. And I say them two next to each other and seeing Randy Moss and what he did and presenting that Hall of Fame to Larry Fitzgerald, the brotherhood that they've had throughout their career and lifetime. I think it goes to show when you mention their names in all time college football, great wide receivers. Not even when we got to the NFL yet. That's for another day and talk. And then, of course, we know Mississippi Valley State, HBCU. We know what the man Rice did over there. The Hall of Famer, the great, the legendary Jerry Rice. He was doing things that you didn't see from a small school, and he got into the NFL. And when he broke that, it made people go check out those small schools. So, we got to definitely applaud and appreciate Jay Rice for him just doing work. He was very educated, but him doing work kind of opened the door for so many more things when it come to looking at those small schools and being a player that could pack a hard punch and become one of the greatest ever, and arguably still the greatest ever at that wide receiver position. And other names, that I thought about, when you speak on Ted Ginn and Brother Blondie, he said Jeremiah Smith is going to be, he could become one of the first Buckeye when he leave to have three straight 100,000 yards. I mean, three straight 1,000 yard seasons in history and will be an all time great. I think that definitely will be talked about as well. And when you speak on Ted Ginn, it makes me think about Percy Harvin. It makes me think about a Tavon Austin. It makes me think of one of my guys. You know where I'm going with this one, T1.
Who you
Peter
got? Peter
Peter
Ward.
Ward. Peter Ward, man. A lot of people forget about Peter Ward. And when you talk about electric, it's just electric, man. You're talking about a man that got on that field and just did what he do. And if you didn't see Peter Ward, like we've been trying to hit y'all on the game, man, y'all better go tap into some of these names on your YouTube. You could check it out, and if it worked for them, it can work for you with the moves they was doing. But for me, it was just a special thing to watch, being able to see him catch the ball, return the ball, but not only that, just be that leader on the field and always had that dog in him. Big games, he was ready to go. He was ready to play, but he just separated himself from others, with that work that he put in. As you become talked about in these type of talks when we talk about being one of the greatest. And a lot of people forget about Calvin Johnson, Megatron, as they call him, what he did over at Georgia Tech, something special in the ACC. It's a lot of wide receivers, but when you think about it, you think about Randy Moss, you think about Larry Fitzgerald, you think about, like you said, people forget about that Mike Williams. You think about Ted again. It's so many more. You got Buckeyes galore. And then we gonna get into that, like I said, when you talk all time, all teams because we're gonna go to multiple positions and many wide receivers in that talk as well. But that's just something that I thought about when you think of that wide receiver position. When you think of all time, it's so many more. You got old school Newsome in there. I could go in and talk about. But any other thoughts on this wide receiver position? Anybody that we didn't name, and I got one, and I'm waiting to see if y'all name it before we get out of here on the wide receiver talk.
Hey, rest in peace to Terry Glenn, man. Bolitnikoff Award winner. Believe he was number 4 pick, first round, number 4 overall. I think I know it was really high to New England, man. And he tore the field up in his think that might have been his junior year or senior year, whichever one it was. But and he was lightning fast. You know, they just had a highlight tape circulating of him on Instagram, and I mean, you just saw him just blowing by the cornerbacks, man, just like with ease. And yeah, you know, and Joey Galloway, who was one of the first to go and run I believe he ran a low 4.29 40 at the combine, and who was another speedster and was killing it out there, you know, in college. But we know wide receiver, you know, we could name them all day, but those were just homer picks with real great receivers that we had and real fast receivers.
Yeah.
What about Desmond Howard?
I'll take the homer pick on them right there.
What about my man up north, Desmond Howard?
Yeah, you can give Des some
Gotta
play.
give Des some love.
Yeah.
Gotta give him some love, and I'm gonna go to one that a lot of people and when I've been thinking about this, I've been watching it a lot, and I actually enjoy watching him. You know, at the college level, I still enjoy watching him as one brother Blondie. He came back in. Ted Ginn Jr. is the only player to return an opening kickoff for a touchdown in a national championship game. Yeah, that was special. And when I see that Dolphins highlight, I said, man, he looked like he's still gaining speed as he's taking this to the house. And I was at the next level, at the NFL level. But for me, I think arguably you can put this man in the conversation anytime you talk about college football wide receiver. And that's that man. I think if he go to that alma mater, he could get them boys rolling this season. That's Devontae Smith out of Alabama. That boy is not only a Heisman winner, two-time national champion. This boy is decorated. And when I say the work he put in at Alabama, I think a lot of people should just go check it out. You know, I know it's talked about a lot, but I don't think it's respected in a way it need to get respected because it don't get talked about a lot. So when you think about Heisman, Andre, let me not say this wrong, Andre Ware, if I'm not saying this wrong, T1, correct me, or if I'm saying it wrong, was the only wide receiver before him to get the Heisman Trophy. So for him to come in to get that,
Nah. Wasn't Andre Ware, bro.
which one was it in '91?
Andre Ware was a
Andre
quarterback
QB.
from Houston.
Quarterback.
We
Yeah.
I
talking
was just
about
talking about this.
the only other wide receiver I think before him to get that. I think the last one before him to get that Heisman was Keyshawn
In '91.
and 97, 96.
Oh,
So
so how did we leave Keyshawn off of the list for what he did in college?
Keyshawn won the Heisman in 96 and Desmond won it in 92 or 91, one of them.
So for me, I just like the fact that Devontae Smith is I think if you really go think about it and go look at it for his size and his stature, for him to put up the numbers he did while he was at Alabama and do what he did and leading that team as well quietly, I think it's something that should get talked about a lot more.
Oh yeah.
You know, just in general, you know, something special. If you go
What
look at
about
those
this
things.
name, Moss? And I would love to see him play in today's game.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket Ismail.
Yes,
Oh
sir.
yeah,
Huh?
Yes,
it's a
sir.
good one.
Rocket was electric at Notre
It's a
Dame.
good one. It's a real good one.
You think, man, just
Just
think if
imagine
you
him.
had a
Just
field,
imagine him in today's game with all this offense going on, man. He would be crazy.
it would be something electric, something special. You talking about he made the flanker position a position that you had to watch and then started going in motion. When you talk about one of the most forgotten players in college football history, I think Rocket Ishmael, people forget about him. And, you know, just talking about him, it's funny you mentioned that because I was just talking about him on the porch with my uncles, and just having different conversations with people, and that's my brother's boy. So that's a great name and a special name. So if they go see the footage of him, it'll trip him out, man. He's just a special talent. And I'm glad you mentioned that name as well.
And one, I got one more for you. We, you forgot who was throwing him that ball. They don't throwing him that ball up there in upstate New York, man. With Syracuse, man. That McNabb to Marvin
Man,
Harrison combo, man. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
over there at
Come on,
Syracuse.
man.
Yes, sir.
They was lethal back in the day.
Yes, sir. Man, just think about all the different names we name when you talk about quarterback, running back, wide receiver, you know, Unk. Shout out to Keith Jackson, Oklahoma great, legend, Hall of Fame 2001, which was his tight end. As we embark on this last one, we're going to move to those tight ends. Two-time All-American, 86, 87, Keith Jackson was. But what's your thoughts at the tight end position? Because this is a position that could get very good in the talks as well when we talk about tight ends. Give me yours, and we're going to go to you, T1.
Man, what was my man's name down there at Miami? He was at Miami. Man, I forget his name.
Win-
Somebody gonna
Winslow.
name me
Rest in peace, Winslow.
Winslow. Yeah, problem. And what's his name too? Before that, was it Gonzalez
Shockey.
or Hernandez? Was it Hernandez?
You talking about Jeremy Shockey.
No,
What
I
with the
ain't talking.
Hurricanes?
The
Hernandez was
Hurricanes.
at
I think one
Florida.
Hernandez at the Hurricanes.
No, Hernandez was at
No,
Florida. You
that's
talking about
Florida.
Jeremy Shockey.
Okay.
You
All right.
talking
I
about
do know.
Shockey?
I do know. I might. Winslow was something different, man.
Winslow
That's
was
the
at the
first.
Shockey.
That's the first one that come to my mind, man. Winslow. I thought when I saw him, he was a problem. He was a problem, and unstoppable. I'm just going one right there until I could think of another one.
Ooh. What's your thoughts on this one, Griffey Griff? Ooh,
Man,
brother Blondie win the bag. Ricky Dudley and he hooped.
man. College, college tight ends. Ooh, Hernandez was a bad boy. Hernandez was bad at Florida. Shockey was bad.
Yeah.
Uh, Ricky Dudley had that. He had a great year his senior year with Bobby Hoying at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Dudley balled out. Ricky was a solid tight end in college.
Man, went
Uh,
crazy, man. A
I
lot of
give him
people forget
solid. I
about
ain't
him.
gonna. And I'm a. Y'all know that's my man. I give him solid, but okay, he Ricky down there a little bit.
yeah, definitely. Uh, who else? Tight end. And I had to do my research on this one because I know a lot
Yeah,
of tight ends. I know a lot of tight ends in the league, but you don't be forgetting what school they went to.
yeah. And in college, it ain't. It's not a glamour position, but it's one of those positions that can take you over the top.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you got a good one with a
If
good
you can
quarterback.
feed that tight end, yeah, yeah,
Ricky
Definitely.
Dudley got Brock Bowers. I was thinking of a guy. We had a guy right here in our hometown, man. Rest in peace to a legend. Mr. Wharton. John. That is. The late great Griffey Griff over at the Stone, and he was at Kent State. But we had Antonio Gates over at Kent State, and for me, man, watching him do what he did at that position, I think for me was special. Because being a basketball player, seeing a guy go out on a football field and do what he did at that position was something special. I liked
Oh yeah,
Antonio Gates, and I liked what he did. I
I
liked
like that.
Jeremy Shockey as well. He was one of my guys. I like Ricky Dudley, but me, man, shout out to Antonio Gates, man, for him blessing the scene on that college football tight end athleticism.
yeah. Like you said, I remember watching Keith Jackson back in the day at Oklahoma. He was a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah,
That's definitely one. That's definitely an old school one.
Keith Jackson was
yeah,
definitely a beast.
man.
For real.
Any other ones like when we talk about it? I'm gonna give y'all a second to think about these tight ends because this, I think, is something that people don't really think about, talk about. You might have to take a second to think about it. SEC Sean had Brock Bowers in that conversation as well. And
Yeah, he
we
definitely
know,
up at the top.
yeah, Brock Bowers was something special. I think when you think college football tight ends, you definitely put Brock Bowers at the top of that list, as we had Keith Jackson then coming in from who said that he had Keith Jackson 84 through 87 Oklahoma, that two-time All-American consensus, changing the game at that position as well. Any other thoughts on that position?
That's all I got right now.
Yeah. That tight end position is kind of hard to go at the top of the head.
Yeah.
So y'all might as well let me, go ahead and get my
Go
home
ahead and
resume
cook,
in.
Moss B.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and check out Nick O'Leary, part of that 33 straight Florida State big
Yeah.
catches.
Yeah.
You talking
Yeah.
about the tight end that block. He didn't just block, he caught the ball. When you think about O'Leary, for me, it was in the genes. Was a special player. He went out there and did what it was he needed to do. Because it's getting close to college football season. So I'm gonna definitely show love to my Seminoles when I got the opportunity to. And I think it was just special seeing him do the things he did, the catches, not just first down, but he made touchdown catches on the road to that for Winston and those quarterbacks previously as well. And brother Blondie in the building, he said, let's not forget the only tight end to become successful actor, as in former Bowling Green All-American tight end, Bernie Casey. Former tight end, Bowling Green tight end, All-American tight end, Bernie Casey on the cookout.
Who at the door?
Anybody remember a guy out of Virginia named Heath? We ain't having candy, but it's Miller time, and we ain't talking Reggie. Heath Miller over in Virginia doing big things, what led him to the NFL in Baltimore. So it's just so many things when you talk about all-time college football on the offensive side that this is just episode 1. We're gonna come back to you on episode 2,
Hey,
and we're gonna give you another cook up. Nah, go ahead, Great Griffey Griff. We got time. Go ahead.
I did a little research. We forget about Jason Witten at Tennessee. He had a pretty decent career at Tennessee. Jason Witten.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Led him to that official contract guaranteed with the Dallas Cowboys to start his lustrous NFL career, which led him into the Hall of Fame and Super Bowl. So, just
Kyle
man, it's
Rudolph wasn't too bad at Notre Dame.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely a hidden gem. As for those that's tuned in this evening, any other thoughts that we got on the all time from anyone before we get up out of here? Because I know T1 got to get up and get those kids educating in the morning, get them started on their normal daily activities
You already
and get
know it.
things moving. And I know Great Griffey Griff got to get things on his management side and get his staff in order. It's a great thing to say, get his staff in order and go on for the day and the rest of the week through the weekend as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Any other things we got to say on the all time? Anybody that we might have missed that you want to throw in, or just anything for anybody to prepare for the rest of the week? What you got going for them this week too? Ain't it football Friday night?
Yeah,
Football
pretty
Friday
know it.
night. Talk to them, City League
I think
TV.
I
What you
got
got
beat.
going this
I got
weekend?
Beechcroft and I think Beechcroft and Independence is the only city league matchup. And I get a lot of flack from cats that say, why don't you get out in these other conferences? It's just because I'm city league, man. This is just all city league. That's all I care about, and that's what separates city league from everybody else. Because
For
everybody else
sure.
is out here doing it. They all over the place, but
For
we
sure.
do it for the city over here.
For sure.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
and you doing big things, bro. I be checking you out, man. And what you doing, man, is huge, man. And
Appreciate
it's
it,
only
bro.
gonna get bigger. It's only gonna get bigger because you know what? The talent in the city is only getting better and better
Yeah, it
as the
is.
time go
It is.
on, man. It's
Yes,
getting
sir.
better and better. So your the product that you cover is gonna be amazing and it's gonna continue to grow because the product is getting better and better each year. The kids are getting better and better. The parents doing good jobs getting these kids out here, getting the proper training, getting them in their books so they can have grades to even play the sport. So,
Absolutely.
big ups to
Appreciate
you,
it, bro.
man, and keep doing your thing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir. And
Sure.
I know they be bugging you. City League, T1 man, admit he has to ask somebody, man on a mission that got so much to do. You mind if your boy MossBurgh asks if you could pop out at Northland
You
football
already know.
Friday
We
night?
going we make sure we get. We try to make sure that we get
Get
everybody at
everybody.
least
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Make sure y'all
We try to
tune
make
in.
sure that we get everybody at least once. So, Northland is definitely on that ticket, and we definitely will make sure that it's a home game, so we can make sure we catch Moss B and Level Up Sports teams up there doing them announcements.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna be in the building this Friday. Got Aiken coming in town for those Northland Vikings, Cincinnati, that is. And it's just gonna be a great football Friday night. I'm looking forward to it. My first ever play-by-play analysis, announcements, and I'm stoked. I'm excited. And I remember when me, you, and Unc, we was up till like 2 in the morning, I think, that night, and we was going back and forth and we was having them talks and we had to call it a night because we was just up so late. So it's just giving me those vibes. Every conversation we've had, even after the stream, is just coming to fruition. And for us to be doing what we doing, you gonna be at the Beechcroft game, I'm gonna be at the Northland game. That's we working.
We
We
working.
doing what we do, and it's just a great thing to see. And we got Unc in the building, T1 Mossberg, and the great Griffey Griff. We appreciate you, Unc. Without you, there would be no us on here doing what we do. And man, it's
Hey,
just a
real
pleasure.
quick,
So,
Moss B, I
yes,
forgot.
sir.
Real quick, I forgot,
You good?
man. If we got any volleyball fans out here, because y'all know we don't discriminate at City League, and so we going to get the City League defending champs, Briggs girls volleyball, Briggs and
Mhm.
Walnut Reds tomorrow. It
Right.
should be pretty good. Briggs girls
Yeah,
are
banger.
back to back City League champs in that volleyball, so it should be a good one to kick off the volleyball season for the girls tomorrow.
You say Briggs is the back to back champs?
Yeah, back to back. Hey, they cold, Griff.
Yeah.
Hey,
They
I
cold.
believe it because my daughter went to Ridge a few years back
No,
and she played. Nah,
Briggs.
no, but my daughter went to Ridge
Oh,
when
okay,
Ridge
okay.
was when now my daughter went to Eastmore when Eastmore was controlling the girls game then back when she was
Uh-huh.
there. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, I know but Briggs had a decent team back then.
Hey,
So
hey,
yeah.
hey, bruh, these girls are like it's like my daughter just played volleyball from 2000 to 2024.
Yeah.
And it has changed like just since then. When I tell you these girls is jumping up and spiking these balls for real, it's on a whole nother level, man. You can tell these girls have went out and got some training. It ain't just jump and just try to hit the ball hard. Man, I mean, they putting it on your head, dog.
Because
So it's something special, man. Y'all might have to
and
just if y'all got a second, I believe both of these teams are most likely have junior varsity, so varsity may not start until about 7:15 or so. But if you get a chance to check it out, man, City League TV, check out them girls volleyball. Come on.
yeah, because
Man, make sure y'all check out City
they
League
ain't just
TV.
trying to win the city. They trying to they doing all that because they got to be ready for that tournament playing with white girls. So they got to be on that.
Well,
You know,
it's even a more of a different level when you get out to the OCC and stuff because them girls been training for a real long time, and I
yeah.
mean you really get that college atmosphere type volleyball with them girls, and it's just another level. And now you got it's a difference because you go out there to the OCC. Now you got all 6 of them girls out there, some dogs, to where you can be in the city and you may only have 3. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? You got 3 dogs, and then you got another 3 of them. They just good. But you
Gotcha.
get out there in them suburbs, everybody some straight dogs. So it's hard. It's hard for the city to get somewhere once you get into those state playoffs.
Mm-hmm. That's why
Let's
they
get
had
it,
to
Moss.
step that game up. All right, bro. Thanks for having me, MossBurgh, bro. I gotta get up out of here.
Appreciate you joining, man. For all
Right, I
those
hear that
tuned in.
Oscar music playing.
Yes, sir. For all those that's tuned in this evening, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you double back. We got season previews coming the rest of this week, the rest of this weekend. You're going to see them Seminoles on here. You're going to see them Bengals coming up with Who They Nation. And you're going to see City League TV live at that great City League volleyball game tomorrow night. So make sure you stay tuned in and check out your boy MossBurgh of Level Up Sports. And all the names you see at the bottom. At the top, One Take Zay, SEC Sean, Post Game, Blitzberg, at WTP for Life. We here, we're gonna bring it to y'all straight. And this is just episode 1 of All Time Greats. You can take us out, T1, because you know that they say.
Y'all know the drill, man. We was in the building, now we up out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Love y'all,
Great
fellas.
evening. Love you too, Unc. You know it.